Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sam, and in today's video, we are going to be taking the game Obsession, and we're going to be adding a random game mechanic into it based off of our wheel of game mechanics. So if we switch screens really quick, you can see in the top right of the screen, we have our picker wheel, and it's got 60 different game mechanics pulled from BGG, Board Game Geek. And what we're going to do is we're going to spin this wheel, and whatever mechanic it lands on, if we're going to make sure that it doesn't already exist in the game Obsession. Constrained bidding. So there is I don't know if it's bidding per se, but in the game there are two character cards that you're vying for attention. There's the Fairchilds. The two Fairchilds are sort of, you're kind of trying to win favor over them. So I don't know if that's exactly bidding, but we'll go with it. All right. So our challenge today is to figure out a way to add constrained bidding into Obsession. And so what we're going to do is we're going to set our phone onto a 5-minute timer to give us our time limit for this brainstorming activity. Where's the timer? There's the timer. Boom. All right. So constrained bidding, in my interpretation of the mechanic, is that there is a fixed limit to the money or currency or whatever you're bidding with. There's a fixed amount. And so that a game like QE, for example, or silent auctions, there's technically no limit to what you can bid. So it's just trying to bid up. In a constrained bidding setting, it'd be something like everyone has $20 maximum or something like that. And supposedly there would be a few rounds. So a good example of this would be potentially For Sale, where everyone starts with, depending on player count, anywhere from like 18 or 14 to $18, something like that, where you have to make that money last between rounds. And so for, why is our screen not updating with my writing on it? All right, there we go. And so in Obsession, to start the game, everyone is randomly dealt a character card to add into their hand as their first guess to start the game for the asymmetrical ability, the asymmetricalness. That's not a, exquisite word. It's not a $5 word, but that's the word I'll go with. So to add asymmetricalness to the start of the game, everyone gets a random level 1 prestige guest. And to add constrained bidding, I would say that each person starts with, say, 600 monies. And so each money is, what do they call them? That just says Victoria. Pounds, I don't know. But each one of these represents 100, and so it's in the base values of hundreds in the game for currency. So we'll say that everyone starts with 600 before the game, and there would be, say, depending on player count, there would be an equal number of guests dealt to face up on the table to start the game. And we'll go back to that. And so say we're playing a 3-player game, there would be 3 guests that you can sort of bribe to be at your establishment at the start of the game. And so you'll start with the first guest, so it'll be kind of a queue where everyone will bid on this one first, this one second, this one third. And how bidding would work is I would probably borrow the constrained bidding concept from For Sale, where you lose, if you don't win the bid, you lose half of whatever you would bid. So for the first round, say the first person bids 2 on this, and then the second person bids 300, and then the third person bids 400 because they really want this character. Each of these first bids would lose $100, but would still not have to pay the full. So that would be 100, and we'll do the round up method. So this person would lose 200, and then this person would pay the full 400. And so that would be how I'd pretend. And then obviously, not obviously, but after that one is bid for it, then you move on to the second and third to basically bribe the starting guests to come be part of your family and help with your reputation. And so we have 46 seconds left on the timer, so I'm going to pause it there. And so to recap, our challenge today was to add constrained bidding into the board game Obsession. And how we did that is the rules that we changed in the setup of the game is instead of randomly dealing out a guest card to each player, you would give each player 600 coin to start the game. And so then you would deal out the number of guests equal to the number of players playing the game, and you would go from left to right bidding on which characters you want to start with. And so any leftover money would be your starting money for the game. And so that would be how I'd add constrained bidding into the game Obsession. And so from just a thought experiment of how we test this, is I would explain just what we went over the next time we played Obsession to see if anyone playing Obsession with us, or with myself, or me, wanted to try this method out. From a thinking it through, my assumption would be that whoever is the first player would bid and the next 2 people would pass, and it would be a pass where you just still take the random cards. So I don't think this would be a way that it would enhance the game, and I don't think it would be a mechanic necessarily that would actually work, but for the sake of this thought experiment, that's what we came up with. I'd love to know if you came up with anything better in the comments below, so feel free to comment if you have a better idea of how to add constrained bidding to the game Obsession. I hope to hear from you soon.